What is a coronavirus? COVID-19 is a coronavirus, which means very little to most people who don't work in virology or immunology. A coronavirus is a group of viruses that can infect mammals and birds. In humans, they can cause respiratory tract infections, many of which can be treated with over-the-counter medication. The so-called common cold is the result of a coronavirus, and while most are well understood and rarely more than an inconvenience, some can be lethal. COVID-19 refers to the outbreak of the disease, which is broken down as Coronavirus Disease 2019. Where COVID-19 originated. It's well known that the virus was first seen in Wuhan, China, but it's not fully understood exactly where it originated. COVID-19 is likely a zoonotic virus, which means it can be transmitted between animals and people. This has led researchers to look for animals that might have originally carried the disease. There are a lot of similarities between COVID-19 and two bat-derived strains of beta coronavirus, which means they are likely related. Because the viruses share about 96% of the same genes, it was initially believed that bats were the source of the outbreak, which was pinpointed to the Huanan seafood market, where exotic animals are sold. How COVID-19 is transmitted. Since the first day the world learned about the Wuhan coronavirus, the fear of it spreading began to rise. How was it transmitted, and what could be done to limit its transmission? People have always feared Ebola, but that's far harder to catch than something like a coronavirus, and it's all about what it infects and how it is transmitted. COVID-19 causes a respiratory infection, and it's through a person's respiration that it spreads the easiest. There are two known means by which the virus spreads: person to person and through contact with infected surfaces. How COVID-19 is detected or confirmed. One of the biggest issues with detecting COVID-19 in a patient is that it presents much like the common cold. To combat this, researchers across the globe have been scrambling to come up with a way to test for the presence of the virus, and this has resulted in several different testing methods. One of the best ways to check for the virus isn't to see if you can find the virus in a person's body, it's to find the antibodies the body produces to fight the infection. The tests that look for antibodies are called serological tests, and a firm in Singapore may have perfected a means of conducting this type of test to find COVID-19. Antibody tests are probably the fastest and easiest way of detecting the presence of COVID-19, but it isn't the only way. Who is at risk? There is no known immunity to COVID-19, which means that everyone is at risk of catching and spreading the infection. That doesn't mean this is a perfect time to panic. Just because you might become infected, doesn't mean you're going to fall over dead in a few hours. COVID-19 can be dangerous, but like most infections, certain portions of the population are more at risk than others. Young children, healthcare professionals, the elderly, and people with a compromised immune system are the ones who are most at risk of becoming seriously ill from COVID-19. What are the symptoms of COVID-19? The first part of this block is going to list the symptoms associated with COVID-19 that shouldn't scare anyone, but the last bit will be all about the more dangerous aspects of the disease. Don't be alarmed, as these are the worst-case symptoms that won't affect most people who are infected. The most common symptoms of COVID-19 are fever, coughing, and shortness of breath. These are the same symptoms most people get from the common cold, but they are the mildest possible symptoms a person can experience. COVID-19 mortality concerns. Yes, COVID-19 can end a person's life, but that doesn't mean the world will end up like it did in Stephen King's The Stand. The mortality rate for COVID-19 is estimated to be 2.3%, and while that number may seem low, it's not. If you compare the mortality rate of COVID-19 to something more common like the flu, it's considerably higher. The flu has a mortality rate of 0.1%, which sees an average of 1 death per 1,000 people. Avoid becoming infected. There are steps you can take to avoid becoming infected, and chances are, you've been doing them all along. Because COVID-19 is a coronavirus, which is passed in much the same way as a common cold, the best way to keep from getting it is to wash your hands with soap and warm water. Avoid touching your face after coming into contact with anything commonly used like doorknobs, and if you have to go outside, try to avoid sick people. COVID-19, HIV, and other conspiracy theories. One of the reasons there are so many conspiracy theories about viruses like COVID-19 is that few people truly understand it. Hopefully, this list will help with that, but there are people who hear a comment like, "This virus may use the packing mechanisms of other viruses such as HIV," and their imaginations tend to run wild. That finding was published by scientists at Nagha University, and it's true. The virus does have an HIV-like mutation, but that doesn't mean someone weaponized a form of HIV in a lab somewhere and released it upon the world, as some conspiracy theories have stated. These same mechanisms appear in many diseases as the result of natural mutations. What to do if you think you're infected with COVID-19? The very first thing you need to do is remember the words printed on the cover of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which are "Don't panic." Panicking doesn't help you or your loved ones, so you need to take care of yourself to ensure you don't spread the infection and make sure you get the proper care. If you develop a fever along with symptoms of respiratory illness, you should call your healthcare provider and ask for their advice. They will know the right questions to ask to help determine if you've got the common cold, or if you have something more serious. If you fear you truly did come in contact with someone infected with COVID-19 and are concerned you may have it as well, you need to get tested.